Welcome back to 101 Sports. I'm now joined by Tim Kraus and Ben Greenberg to discuss Major League Baseball. As we all know, the key move this offseason was the Toronto Blue Jays acquiring all these pieces. Now, Mr. Greenberg, are these guys contenders?
Well, the Blue Jays may be able to compete this year, but I think it's a little too soon to mark them off as true contenders. Think about all the question marks on this team. Melky Cabrera is coming off a suspension. Jose Bautista and Adam Lind were both hurt for most of the year last year. And Mark Burley and Josh Johnson both had bad years last year and now have to pitch in the AL East.
I agree that you can't win a title or make the playoffs on paper, and it's way too soon for to call any team a contender.
Right.
But these Blue Jays have set themselves up to be a contender this year. Look at the guys they brought in. They brought in Jose Reyes, who was a tremendous upgrade at shortstop, who was 2 years away from winning the NL batting title. He won the NL batting title with the New York Mets.
Correct, but bad season last year.
Rough season last year, but he has proven in the past that he can do it. So has Josh Johnson and Mark Burley. Josh Johnson, yes, he's been hurt. He's had a rough 2 years. But before that, when he's on, he's almost unhittable. And when he's performing like the way he could be a #1 caliber ace. Mark Burley is a guy who is moving back to the American League, who pitched for the White Sox, who was unbelievable as a White Sox.
Correct. My only point really is that it's just a little bit too soon to mark them off as a contender when they're moving into a tough division. Josh Johnson, by the way, went 8-14 last year.
He did, but the American League, there's 2 wild cards spots in baseball.
Right.
Really, anybody's a contender right now. And the Blue Jays were still in the race until September.
I agree with you. If these pieces work together well, then they could have a shot at that title. I agree.
Well, by definition, on paper, they're a contender. Come on. You got to give it to them. Okay, moving on. Evan Longoria signs this huge contract, $100 million. He's there for 10 years. Is the guy worth it?
Yes, he is. And I'm going to be the first to admit there's no way he's going to produce Evan Longoria numbers until he's 37. But the Rays made the right decision. You have an opportunity to lock up the face of your franchise. The only reason fans in Tampa Bay have to go to the worst ballpark in baseball, Tropicana Field. Right. You have an ability to lock him up long term in the prime of his career. You take it. I don't care if you give him 20 years. You got to lock him up. He's the best, one of the best third basemen in baseball.
I like Evan Longoria, I really do. But to sign him for a decade is just a little bit too long. We're entering an era of baseball where youth and speed are so important. The last 2 champions are the Cardinals and the Giants, both teams that were built on youth.
That's
and
true,
speed.
but you also need to have a veteran presence when you have a young team and you're in a small market, which is what Longoria will be for the next decade when he's there. And also, the reason they did this deal now was because they save money. His contract, the way they made it, is less money than the Dodgers are paying Adrian Gonzalez, they're paying Matt Kemp,
right,
and the Angels are paying Albert Pujols. So you do this now.
Financially, it's not terribly, but
it's a great move.
It's not a terrible move, but unless somebody's name is Mike Trout, I'm not giving anyone 10
Evan
years.
Longoria is... He probably will not last the 10 years, but for the time that they're going to have him, he's worth it. He's the only reason to go to the ballpark in Tampa Bay.
Keep in mind, he also had hamstring problems this year, which is usually long-term, and he only played 70 games, so I'm not sure I would have made this move.
Okay, so we're going to move on to a little bit of a lighter topic. What would you do with an entire offseason as a Major League Baseball player?
Well, I'm a family boy, so I would definitely go home, maybe play some snow football with my 3 younger brothers. But once mid-January rolled around, I'll tell you what I would do. I would go down to training camp just like Derek Jeter would. You know, this guy has been to 21 spring trainings, and he's always the first guy down there.
That's his job.
That's the leader
That's his job. I mean, if you're a pro baseball player, you got to prepare yourself for the season. But, I mean, the way you look at it, you spend from late February to October with your teammates, so you're going to be bored in the offseason. I want to do something fun, something crazy in the offseason. If I was a professional baseball player, I would join Dancing with the Stars. I want to prove that I can do more than just hit a baseball. And, you know, I'm a Major League Baseball player, so I'm obsessed with how many likes I have on Facebook and how many followers I have on Twitter. Dancing with the Stars, you can up all those. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to see me on Dancing with the Stars?
All right, well, I guess you'd be the dancing champion, and I'd be the one with the ring on my
I don't know about that.
Tim,
Kaz Ward went on Dancing with the Stars before he won his Super Bowl.
You got to keep in mind, too, that's a great way to stay in shape. Dancing loses a ton of calories.
Absolutely, seriously.
That's all the time we have for this webcast. Make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For all of us here at the show, thanks for watching. And until next time, whose side are you on?